Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Gamma Repeater mod, which is being made by user Carnage Fiend. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is this, the Gamma Repeater, which is effectively a Gamma Gatling gun. And oh man, this thing is pretty awesome, and frankly, just makes sense to have in the Fallout world, as of course we already do have here in Fallout 4 a Gamma pistol, a Gamma submachine gun, so it just makes sense in my mind that somebody out there in the wasteland, most likely the children of Adam, would create some form of Gamma heavy weapon. And I've been having an unusually large amount of fun with this thing. And I say unusually because, as I have mentioned in some other Fallout 4 videos, I'm not the biggest fan of Gamma damage, because it seems just too situational, because mainly for me, because it can't be used against ghouls, so I tend to just leave it be and not do anything with it. But this Gamma Repeater, oh man, I have loved every second of playing with this thing, even though it has accidentally killed me several times, as of course any Gamma weapon will produce radiation when fired, and with how fast this thing shoots, yeah, gotta watch yourself or else you'll very quickly die of radiation poisoning. It just happened to me moments ago before starting the episode when I was slaughtering a group of raiders. I kicked it because, well, my radiation just got too high. But nonetheless, it is still fun and pretty easy to get your hands on once you do install the mod. Now, what you're going to actually have to do to create this, because it doesn't get added to the leveled loot list, so you can't loot it, you can't buy it, you're gonna have to build it at a chemistry station, and you'll see up at the top we have added in Convert Gatling to Repeater, and so you will need a Gatling laser to create this thing. Along with that, you'll need adhesive, aluminum, gold, nuclear materials, screws, springs, and steel, and of course 1 rank in science to create the Gamma Repeater. Now you'll notice over here that the Gamma Repeater has its own ammo, which is fission cores, and we also have the ability to create those here in the chemistry station, where with either 2 options, either creating 1 fission core at a time, or 3, which frankly, I honestly don't know why you'd ever use this one, which I'll talk about in a moment. So to create just a single fission core, you're going to need circuitry, a fusion core, and nuclear material, as well as, again, rank 1 in science. So it is kind of an expensive form of ammo to produce because you do need a fusion core, which can be a bit hard to come by. But what's fun, if we do create 1 of these, as that's all we need for the moment, we can, if we tab out, load up our current Gatling, or Gamma Repeater rather, and notice that that 1 fusion, or fission core rather, turns into 800 rounds of ammo. So 1 fusion core will go a long way in the conversion process, so it's not going to be a 1-to-1 ratio per shot, which is very handy. You're actually going to get a good few hundred rounds out of every single fusion core you do convert over. Now, as for why the ×3 doesn't make sense to me, because it uses the exact same amount of materials. It'll use 5 × 3 circuitry, so 15, 5 × 3 nuclear materials, so 15, and 3 fusion cores to create 3 fission cores, but you need rank 3 of science and rank 2 of nuclear physicist to build it. Whereas I can just go in here and, oh look, I created 1. Oh look, I created 2. Oh look, there's a 3rd. Why even have this option, frankly? It doesn't make sense to me with the additional perks, where it doesn't take a long enough amount of time to create 3 at a time, that it just seems awkward. But oh well, just use this one and you'll be good to go and have all the ammo you need. Now, as for the weapon and the damage it will do is actually pretty significant. Remember, it is made off of the Gatling laser, so it is meant to be an endgame weapon, and the standard version will deal 10 energy damage, 75 radiation. It'll have a firing rate of 54, range of 203, accuracy of 48, and weight of 18.8 0.9 and will be a pretty devastating force. But once you've changed some modifications in there, you can bring this thing up to the blessed gamma gun that we have here, where it'll still only do 10 energy, but it'll do 225 radiation. And if you have the right perks, which of course I don't have turned on right now, but if you have the right heavy weapon perks, this should be able to get up above 400. And what's even better is because of the overcharged fission coupling right here and the particle array, not only we're going to have a huge amount of damage there, but we're also going to have some damage on target fire damage as well. So we will light people on fire, and that's just so much better. And of course, we'll have better firing rate, all that sort of stuff, but it will be pretty awesome and be pretty darn powerful. But the one thing that does disappoint me, if we do go into the weapon workbench, is there is overall a general lack of modifications. We only have 3 slots: the receiver slot, where we only have 2, the standard receiver and that overcharge receiver, which adds more radiation damage and penetration on the enemy. And then if we go into the barrels, again, we only have 2 options, either the standard or the particle one, which is what will add in that fire damage on top of everything else, which is pretty darn fun, but still only 2 options. You know, I'd love to see a bit more in there. And then of course, finally in muzzle, well, we got nothing. I'm hoping we get some more in the future, as this is currently beta for this particular gun, so hopefully we'll get in some more stuff later on. But for now, it's a little bit sad and doesn't have too much in the realm of modifications, and so quite easily you can turn it into that blessed gamma gun to do a heck of a lot of damage. Now let us actually go and fire these things and show you how they work. Now of course, the just generic standard version, the gamma repeater, if we do fire, there we go. Just look at all those water explosions. It is pretty beautiful. Now if we actually move along, so they'll be a bit smaller, less in place there, but you know, overall very, very good damage, and it'll do some very effective damage at, again, 75 per hit. And you still got that fun, weird gamma particle weapon ammo animation. I don't even know what to call it, I guess. But that looks pretty cool, where you get the little green wobbling circle going at the enemy. And overall, it is actually pretty accurate for a large, heavy weapon. And you'll be able to do an effective amount of damage against the enemy. Now, with the Blessed Gamma Gun, which again is really the only other version we can make, you get a bit more damage out of the thing, and plus the fire damage if we have, unfortunately, a light dog meat on fire here. Sorry, boy. And wait for it. There we go. He is on fire, and I just got, oh boy, a lot of radiation. Look at all that radiation. See, that is why I died earlier testing this thing out, because it just produces a lot. But you know what? It's fun nonetheless to shoot, because who cares? You'll just need a lot of Radaway to actually survive. But let's actually show up the reload animation again. Very cool on that thing, popping in the fusion core into its little hole. And let's actually take some Radaway real quick before we die trying to show off this episode. Okay, let's also take our Rad X, and of course go over here where we're gonna have to put down the Wild Mongrel, as we always do. It is of course tradition. Let's see how many shots of this thing it takes to kill him from across the river. Now of course it is, you know, Gatling laser, so it's not the most accurate thing. Oh my, dog meat is still on fire. But let's see how it goes. Ooh, he is... that particle damage is still burning him, and he's dead. Perfect. So yeah, that fire actually lasts a lot longer than I was originally thinking it did. I guess mainly because most of the people I fought earlier on before starting the episode while testing died too quickly to actually let that damage go for a while. But yeah, Dogmeat is still in fact on fire, which means he's still technically taking damage over and over again. So it is going to be a pretty effective weapon for you, really. If you get into a crowd of enemies, just sort of spray and pray, and the particle damage from the fire should more or less kill everyone after a short amount of time. But yes, that is the Gamma Repeater. It is a pretty awesome gun. You are, of course, going to need the Far Harbor DLC to use it, as it does use some bits and bobs from Far Harbor to actually build the model here. But overall, it is a very fun, cool, and interesting heavy weapon, and I think a fun little addition to anyone's arsenal. But that is going to be it for today, folks. I hope you all have enjoyed the Gamma Repeater, and that you do come back for the next episode when we'll be looking at, I'm not sure yet, but hopefully something very, very fun. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one. Now I'm going to go and, I guess, irradiate more people. Good times. Later, folks.